Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you all. Good morning. We'll do this like I teach in this classroom twice a week, so we'll do this like I do in my class. Good morning. That is the energy that I need. Good to see you all. My name is Todd B. Waldo. I am the founder and principal consultant for Hugh Helen LLC. I am also part of the teaching team here at Vinci, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you in person and all of you on the internet to Demo Day. So we got folks here in the room. We got some folks watching us online. Thank you so much for being in this space, being part of today. Today is really about making connections. We've got some students who have done some really hard work solving problems, and we want to connect them with you all. They are innovators, they are smart, they are wonderful. We're trying to make this connection between them and this great Richmond community. So this is an opportunity for them to show off a little bit, talk about what they've done, and so we're so glad that you are here. You get to experience something special today. You get to see students, 6 of them show off, but actually you get to experience about 40 students and their teams and the work that they've done over in the Shift Lab. So we got a great day in store. We got some special guests with us, so we're gonna have a really good time over here this morning. So thank you for being here, and we gotta say thank you to Capital One and all of our sponsors for making today possible. Please show some love to all of our sponsors. This is kind of what our day looks like today. So as I mentioned, we're gonna have our keynote speaker. We're gonna do kind of 2 movements, right? So we'll have 3 pitches. We'll take a short break and have some words from one of our speakers and do 3 more. And then we'll hear from our executive director. And then we're just gonna hang out and spend some time with each other. And at that point, you all have an opportunity who are here. I'm sorry to all of you on the internet, you can't do this. But if you want to just run over here to VCU real quick, come on through. But those of you who are here, you get to vote. We're going to tell you about that later for the People's Choice Award, okay? Does that sound good? Sound like a good agenda for us today? Wonderful. All right. To kick things off, I want to bring up our Provost, and he's going to introduce our keynote speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear for our Provost, Sotiropoulos. Provost Fotis.
Thank you, Todd. And by the way, I need to have what you're having for breakfast, okay? Because I can't match that level of energy. So I'm absolutely thrilled to be here today and to express how excited I am about Da Vinci Center, the Shift Retail Lab, and Demo Day 2022, right? This is my first Demo Day as Provost. I started here in August, so I'm just really, really excited. You know, as our esteemed and fearless director has been saying, the Da Vinci model or the Da Vinci Center looks like the classroom of the future, right? And I have shamelessly copied him to actually say that I want to use this model to scale it up throughout the entire university to make the entire VCU look like the university of the future, right? So I apologize for using your words, but it's part of being so successful and really having a great vision, and you see the results today. So VCU's vision for higher education is one that places less emphasis in the classical classroom learning and more emphasis on experiential transdisciplinary learning. This is certainly what I would like to accomplish as Provost. This is what President Rao is committed to accomplishing, I think, and that's really all the excitement for the future. And when I say this, I don't mean that we walk away from the things that we have been doing in the past, from our core educational mission to provide our students with the fundamental knowledge they need. I'm talking about rather finding ways, creative ways to leverage technology and high quality online learning modalities to continue doing much of what we have been doing in the past, but in new ways, in order to create flexibility and opportunity to innovate in the future. In other words, becoming more Da Vinci-like across our entire university, right? So for example, providing our students with the opportunity to acquire stackable credentials and certificates like the Da Vinci certificate. These are, you folks have been at the frontier of innovating, imagining what the future of education should look like. We must reshape the campus in-person experience to focus more on experiential project-based transdisciplinary learning rather than a traditional sequence of lecture-based in-person classes. In other words, to focus more on outcomes rather than a set of the requirements. And that's what the Da Vinci Center and the Shift Retail Lab have been doing so successfully. We need to prepare our students for the future of work in a time when technology is growing exponentially, where artificial intelligence and automation will cause a big chunk of human jobs to disappear as we know them in the next few decades, but it will also create many new jobs that will require different sets of skills, and we need to begin to prepare our students with these skills. So our vision for all VCU students moving into the future is to really provide them the skills to be sufficiently proficient in the basics of computational thinking, while they are also given the chance to cultivate higher order cognitive skills, such as critical thinking, the ability to design and work with complex interconnected systems, entrepreneurship, compassion, and cross-cultural understanding. These are all skills that these intelligent machines of the future are not likely to acquire, or the algorithms of the future, and we need to equip our students to be ready for this. So now it is really an exciting time for disruptive innovation and change at VCU, and each of you here today are on the leading edge. I mean, this is what I have said on a number of occasions, that I want to take the Da Vinci model and scale it across our entire educational enterprise. So, coming to our speaker today, innovation and change are specialties that our speaker today has displayed throughout his career. He's a great ambassador for technology as an instigator of positive change in multiple ways, in multiple capacities. So I'm really pleased to introduce and welcome today Kamal Bherwani, who is the CEO of GCOM, and in full disclosure, a dear friend of mine. He has more than 30 years of global technology and operating experience with multi-billion-dollar enterprises across both the public and private sectors in varied roles, including CEO, CIO, CTO, and CDO. Prior to joining GCOM, he served as the Chief Technology Officer of Inversora Agroindustrial Global, leading technology strategy, architecture, and operations, as well as global private and venture capital technology investments. He has also spent a significant portion of his career in New York City under the administration of multiple mayors, including as the first Chief Information Officer of the city's Health and Human Services domain, comprised of several agencies focusing on social services, criminal justice, and health. So I hope you understand what I mean, that he has been at an instigator of positive change and the global ambassador of technology at huge scale, really, with huge societal impact. When he's not directing GCOM, right, in his free time, he focuses on strategic growth efforts. So he's also passionate about sharing his expertise with other growing business. He serves as chairman of the board for both HEO, an electronics water protection company, and Magin Pro, a flexible media streaming service provider. So before I ask you to join me to welcome Kamal Bherwani, I would like also to share with you something that you saw before in the slide, but I mean in the previous slide about the sponsors. We are really thrilled and grateful to have GCOM joining the Da Vinci Center Advisory Board. So thank you, Kamal. Thank you, GCOM. We are looking forward to a great partnership moving forward. The stage is yours.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'm so happy that we were able to join the advisory board at the Da Vinci School, and that just happened a few days ago, and I'm honored and thrilled for that. I'm also deeply honored and humbled to be here today. I first visited VCU, I guess, a couple of months ago. I was at the invitation of Fotis and Mike Rao, and I got to visit Garrett and saw the great work that VCU is doing here at the Da Vinci School. And I looked around and I said to myself, VCU stands for Virginia Commonwealth University, but I really think it should stand for Venture Capital University, because it is really incredible. You know, you're looking at someone who made it against the odds. Fotis talked about some of the things I've done in my life, but those were hard-earned, more so than most, because I dropped out of college. And I dropped out of college in the third semester. I was at Queens College in Flushing, Queens. I was raised as an inner city immigrant. And college, I thought, didn't work for me. It wasn't practical. I couldn't apply anything I was learning in real life. I didn't think it was relevant to my path. Now, I'm not saying people should drop out of college. No, that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is, had I been here, I wouldn't have dropped out of college. And I wouldn't have dropped out of college because everything you're doing here is practical, it's relevant, it's connected to the real world. And for me, it didn't feel that way. I had a plan, right? I'll go back to my earlier life, how I got into technology, because I think it's an interesting story of unintended consequences. But the point was, it didn't work for me, and I'm so happy that colleges like this exist because they are the classrooms of the future to prepare people for the future of where the world's going. And it says a lot for a university system to ask a college dropout to speak as a keynote speaker on their demo day. Some of you are going to end up working in a big company and to drive innovation in a big company. I've done that. I've been on that side of the fence. And some of you are going to end up starting a company or working for a startup. And there's some lessons, I think, that apply on both sides. Having been on both sides of the fence, being the CEO of a startup, being on the board of a startup, being a CXO at large companies, I thought I would impart on you some of the life lessons I had that you just can't read in a textbook, and really drove kind of my thinking and shaped how I thought about the world. Today I'm the CEO of GCOM. Fotis mentioned that in the intro. It's a 1,000-person company, and I also sit on about 7 boards. I chair 3 of them. I would say that there are 2 sayings that are quoted often. The harder you work, the luckier you get. And the other is, it's better to be lucky than good. And luck and hard work are definitely important, but they're just table stakes. Luck and hard work are not enough to be successful. So let me give you an idea of some of the things that helped me beat the odds. And the best way to do that would be to share some of the life stories and lessons I've followed. So how did I get here? My first real job at 17 years old was as a computer programmer in high school. I used to go to school during the day, come home, have a snack, take the train into Manhattan, and I was a computer programmer from about 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. every day, Monday to Friday. But how did I get into technology? Back then, technology was not pervasive. Today, technology is a driver of innovation and change, but not then. This is pre-internet, this is pre-iPhone, this is pre-most technologies. Back then, mainframes were prevalent, and the PC was just coming out. So to get to that story, you have to go back even further because there's a domino effect in life. And I think you'll witness in your own lives that either you've seen the domino effect in action or you actually will see it in action in the future. I started delivering newspapers. I said I was an inner city kid. We didn't have much money. So I wanted money, right? We're in a capitalist society. You want money. So I started delivering newspapers. And I saved to get about $50. That took a long time. And a friend of mine said, "Can I borrow $50 from you?" And I said, "Why would I give you $50? He said, "Because I'm a good friend of yours, and I'll give it back to you in like 3 months." And I said, "How do I know you're gonna give it back to me?" He said, "Because my dad gives me a Christmas present every year, and it happens to be cash. So I'm gonna give you, usually gives me about $100, I'll give you 50, and we'll move on. I need $50 for something. I don't know what he was gonna buy, some sneakers or something." So I said, "Here's $50, take it." And sure enough, Christmas passed, and I didn't hear from him. And in January, I tracked him down in school and said, "Where's my $50, dude?" And he said, "My dad didn't give me $50. He didn't give me any money. So what did he give you?" He gave me a computer. Now back then, the most basic and cheap computer was a Timex Sinclair. It was $100, maybe $120 at the time, and had 1K of memory. Okay, and no monitor, right? No mouse, there's nothing. And I said, "Okay, I'll take it. What was I gonna do?" So I took it, and I taught myself how to program. So a lesson there is, what do you do when things don't go your way? Do you make a big fuss, or do you make the best out of it? The best I could do, besides beat the kid up, was to take his computer and do something positive with the computer. So I did, and sure enough, I got proficient at programming, and I got into junior high school, and they screwed up my my schedule. And I went to the guidance counselor, and I was number 20th in line, and she said, "Anyone who wants to take computer science, raise your hand." So I was 20th in line, no one in front of me. 19 people could have raised their hand. No one raised their hand. I raised my hand, she said, come to the front. She changed my schedule for the day, and she gave me computer science. So I already knew how to program, right? I didn't take computer science to learn how to program. I actually started programming, and I wrote an attendance system for the school. And that became the first school in New York City that had a computerized attendance system, because everything was on paper. So then I got flash forward to high school, and these are, again, domino effects. You flash forward to high school, and there was a day when someone came in and said, do you want to be a city of school intern? Now, a city of school intern is someone who actually spends 4 days out of 5 working at a company as part of half of their senior year. So I was asked that question in 11th grade, and I said, absolutely. It was not for kids who had a career plan, it was for kids who wanted to get out of school, but to give them practical experience. But I raised my hand, and I became a city of school intern, and that led to then programming at night out of high school. So that's the law of unintended consequences. In the moment, small decisions end up shaping your life in ways that you could have never, ever imagined. And that's probably the most important lesson I've learned in my life is things will go wrong. What do? You make the best of it. And making the best of it sometimes is not easy. You got to step back. You got to wind your watch. You can't be in a rush to screw something up. You really have to focus and try to figure out what's the best path that's going to lead to a future, not focus on yesterday. And that means you take all the shots you can take, right? You're going to miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So take as many shots in net as you can. It doesn't matter if you think they'll lead anywhere. Some will. It's a numbers game, right? Me taking shots at the net was the numbers game that allowed me against the odds to succeed. Your odds are already better, right? You're already in an environment where you're part of a classroom of the future. Your odds are already better. Leverage those. Take them as many shots as you can, and something will lead somewhere. Delivering newspapers led to a loan gone bad, that led to learning a new skill, that led to a strong foundation for success. That's the story. So I had my first management job then at 22 and my first C-level job at 27. But, I thought as a manager, I was pretty good at interviewing people. So this leads to my next lesson, which is I started interviewing people and I would ask them technical questions to see whether they're qualified for the job. That's what you do in an interview, right? Well, it turns out you hire people for what they know, but you fire them for who they are. Learning who they are is far more important than what they know. Chances are they know what they say they know. You can validate that. But getting to know who they are is quite the trick in an interview, especially with the rules around what you can ask and what you can't ask. And as entrepreneurs or future managers in large companies driving innovation, time is your enemy. You're going to have to know who they are and make the right decision the first time. You don't have the luxury of making repeated mistakes because time is against you. You're capturing a new market, you're changing the world, and you need a strong team. So the question I ask to get an idea of who someone is name me 3 people that you want to have lunch with that are no longer alive, and why? A friend of mine told me that question, and I've used it on every interview since. And that question tells me exactly what their values are, who they are as people, how they reason, and how they deal with something that's unexpected. Because that is not a question you expect in an interview. And how they answer that has been the #1 defining factor of whether or not they make it in the team. By the time I was 29, I became a partner at a private equity fund, and then later ran technology investments for a family office. And there I've done about 50 deals, close to $1 billion of investments. And I learned a lot of lessons in that as well. And one of the questions you have to ask yourself is, why do big companies historically fail to innovate? And it was easier to innovate, by the way, when I worked in government, ironically, than in big corporations. And I'll tell you why. First, in both, the problem is, a camel is a horse designed by committee. Right? Apple would not be Apple if you didn't have a forceful leader at the top driving change on his terms. He didn't accept any input from anybody. He knew the answers and he was right. You don't have that in government. You don't have that in big corporations. Big corporations are more risk averse than government. Government will take risks, but corporations don't take risk. They don't take risks because it's a committee called a board that puts pressure on management, and they don't like uncertainty. So why does Facebook exist? Why does Amazon exist? Why does Google exist? Why does media companies exist like Spotify that distribute music? There were incumbents in all these fields. There were pure incumbents that owned that space, and they gave it up to startups. And why was that? And the reason is because someone had an idea. Someone in that company had an idea and said, we should start streaming music, CDs are going to be dead. And by the time they understood that, it was too late, the market was gone. That's why I say time is the enemy. Big companies can't move quickly. They can't reason about risk in the face of uncertainty. They know their models, they're profitable, and they don't want to take a chance, because if they take a chance and it doesn't work, it actually impacts their earnings. And you can't take small chances, you got to take big chances. So if you ever end up in a big company, you're going to have to find a way to articulate why the company should take a risk. And it's got to be a passionate statement. It can't be an analytical statement, because there are so many uncertainties and so many unknowns. You can't possibly, no one could have predicted the value of these multi-trillion-dollar businesses now, multi-trillion now, trillion and change. They were able to get there because they were able to take a bold risk that was based on gut instinct. And getting big companies to act on gut instinct is quite the trick. So, in closing, one more point I'll make is companies don't grow in a step. They don't grow linearly. They grow in step functions. Step functions are really important. Most entrepreneurs believe that when they get something that's working, they get $1 million in revenue, $2 million in revenue, 5, 10, that the same model will take them to $1 billion. That never works that way. What happens is you have to go through the step function, not a linear function. You have to invest ahead. You have to change the operating model. You have to change management often. And sometimes you have to change the founder. I've been in the unenviable position of having to fire founders from their own businesses because they couldn't adapt to different leadership styles. So the other thing I would urge you to do is embrace change when it comes to how you manage people. In the beginning, you'll do everything on your own. Absolutely everything on your own. As the company grows, you can't be caught in that hub and spoke model where you're the center of every single decision. You have to let it go. You have to delegate, even if you think you know how to do it better, because the company won't scale. And if it doesn't scale, it's dead. In tech and innovation, either you're growing or you're dead. There's no standing still. So learn to adapt your management styles. And now is the time to start thinking about that, because by the time you're in the heat of the action, it's too late. You have to have that mind frame now. So, in closing, where will you end up? A big company or a startup? I don't think it matters. I think they're both good. You just have to do what appeals to you. Regardless, a healthier, safer, more prosperous world is the goal. But the foundation is prosperity. Without prosperity, you can't reduce crime. Without prosperity, you can't get rid of homeless people. Prosperity is the engine that fuels safety and health. Prosperity is fueled by innovation. So all of you, I would use the Teddy Roosevelt quote, or the man in the arena, although I would say now you're the people in the arena. When he was talking about the citizenship in the Republic speech that he made. So I wish you all of the best in that journey. I know it'll be a tough road ahead. Don't give up. Keep the path. And if it doesn't work one way, it'll work a different way. Thank you very much. Do we have time for a question or two?
So, Kamal, let's have folks ask you questions at the reception. He will hang out. One more time, please show your appreciation.
Thank you.
So, Kamal, thanks for being here. I don't know if it's a Queens thing, but my first job was delivering papers as well. Maybe that's our hustle, but that's just how we get money, all of us who grew up in the Northeast. All right, VCU, Da Vinci Center, demo day. How we feeling? Everybody good? Cool. So this is how this is going to work. We're going to hear from three students, 3 teams. We'll do 3 pitches, and then we're going to have a speaker. They're just going to share. They're going to tell their story. They're going to tell you about what they've done. And I will tell you this, for each of them, you're going to hear an opportunity. You're going to hear an opportunity for you to invest. That could be some dollars. That could be your time. That could be your effort. That could be your energy. Or you could tell someone else about it. And that's for you watching online as well. Part of this, again, is about connecting these students to this great community that we have here in Richmond. So if you hear something and it's dope and it's great, go on the internet, tell the people, all right, and say, get us some money, because it's great. Does that sound good? All right. I want to get a little bit of help. So I want to bring Tyrone Frye up. Tyrone is the experiential learning coordinator here at Da Vinci Center and also a UX UI designer at Capital One. So the way we're going to do this, Tyrone's going to introduce each of the pitches. And again, this is just 6. We got, what, like 40 of these? Like 40 that you get to experience in our reception. So this is just a sample. We curated this so you can get a feel of the genius that's in the room and how great and magnificent these students are. All right? Just a dose, but it's a good dose. You ready to get it started? All right. Tyrone, I will pass it to you, and let's get this going.
Yeah, let's get this going. Hello, hello. My name is Tyrone, as I was just introduced. This is about the students, so I'm going to start right off the bat. We're going to start with Lip Love Line, founded by Briana Williams. Lip Love Line provides customers with ingredient-conscious lip care products to empower self-expression in their... There you go. Go for it.
All right, get started. So hi everyone, I am Briana Williams. I am the founder and CEO of Lip Love Line. And as stated, we are an ingredient-conscious lip care beauty brand born to enhance natural beauty and to inspire self-expression in what we believe is the best and cleanest way possible, and that's through the lips. The button's not working. There we go, sorry about that. So the why behind the brand is very much so connected to the story of myself as a young girl and having faced many different health issues as well as sensitive skin and low self-esteem. And one of the few things that made me feel beautiful was my lip gloss. I love telling the story. I remember the first time my mom bought me my very first lip gloss set and how much personality and confidence it gave me to show up in different places and spaces. And as I grew older, lipstick became that for me as well. And due to the expense associated with quality makeup products, I gravitated toward lip products to be a simple and a reliable way for me to feel beautiful without the full face of a makeup. And that's why I created Lip Love Line at the beginning of 2020. And of course, that was the onset of the pandemic. And so I actually surveyed about 100 girls and women, and we found some truths. And so the first truth is we're often blind to our own natural beauty. So despite increasingly diverse representation in media, oftentimes girls and women feel the pressure to wear a full face of makeup and fit the stigmas of society. We found that lip gloss stick balm color is a way to feel beautiful without wearing a lot of makeup, as well as the lines between wellness and beauty are also blurring. And so ultimately our position is ingredient-conscious lip care products that celebrate you, our users. And so the problem is not makeup. Makeup is an expressive way and a creative way to show your personality, but sometimes the pressures of wearing a full face of makeup can often feel overwhelming. And then there's also a desire for more clean beauty products on the market. And so we were created with a belief that you can and should feel beautiful in your own skin. And we've created lip care products, and that's what we're focusing on, the lips. And so we're an inclusive beauty brand, and so we like to say we go deeper than beauty. We partner and collaborate with organizations in the community that support girls and women in the areas of health and wellness. And so we've done a lot in the last couple of years, but some of the highlights include working with the VCU Brand Center to create our logo, brand guidelines, as well as to strategize for our Kickstarter campaign, which took place at the end of 2020, and we were able to exceed our goal of over $15,000 to begin manufacturing in 2021. We officially also registered our trademark, as well as we launched our products in August of 2021, and I've participated in several accelerator programs, including currently the Lighthouse Labs RVA program. So all of our products, again, after a year and a half of manufacturing and production delays because of COVID, were finally launched in August of 2021. And all of our products have ingredients that were chosen with care and purpose, and so they are considered vegan, cruelty-free, and clean beauty products. And so our customers range from 15 to 34 women and teens, and they're could be intimidated by makeup, but they also could have a love for makeup, and especially lip products. They are just looking for a simple and easy way to spruce up their look and care about their health and wellness and just want to enhance their natural beauty. And so the beauty industry overall is expected to reach over $805 billion in the next year, and niche beauty brands like Lip Loveline account for upwards of 10% of that growth. And often indie beauty brands, again, like Lip Loveline, often appeal to the higher growth segment of younger consumers. And so where do we stand against our competition? We are focused on lips only, so lip care products only, and unlike many of our competitors who often expand into other areas of makeup after launching. And so where can you find us? We are an e-commerce direct-to-consumer brand. We've also launched on a couple of other e-com platforms, including Amazon. We've attended some local pop-up vendor trade shows. You can find us on social media, as well as we're exploring some retail opportunities. And so since our launch, we've actually sold over 1,600 products. Our average order value is about $40, and we've brought in over $33,000 in revenue. We've also had nearly 100 five-star reviews. We've also been featured in a couple of national beauty publications, including Birdie, Essence, Bustle, and a few others. A lot of the partnerships that we have, both locally and nationally, are amazing. The resources that they've provided me, both in expertise, but also mentors and advisors, has been amazing. And I could not credit the success of what Lip Loveline has become without them. So the opportunity to continue to grow and scale is there as a beauty brand. We're hoping to become one of the first major beauty brands here in Richmond, Virginia, and continue to just grow in new product development, again, in lip care beauty products only, but also in marketing and sales efforts, as well as just continuing to grow and see where we can find ourselves in some big box retail, and maybe perhaps one day be acquired by a larger beauty company. And so I am a solo founder, but I, again, couldn't have done any of this without all of the mentors and advisors that I've had, but also some of the folks that I work with on a daily basis, and my interns, and I'm actually bringing on a couple this summer, one from VCU and one from U of R. So thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit more about Lip Loveline as we continue to celebrate beauty in all of its forms. Thanks.
Thank you, Briana. Next up will be Yosef with C'est La Vie. He seeks to provide a vegan lunchable for the modern consumer.
All right, hey everyone, my name is Yosef, and I've been a vegan for over 8 years now, and I'm also a big snack lover. But before we start, I want to share with you all a story. When I was 11 years old, I was involved in a major car accident where I was stuck underneath a running car. I was saved because all of my neighbors came together and lifted the car to rescue me. And from this experience, I learned two things: how valuable life is and how powerful we are when we work together. With that being said, we often take life for granted, as each year, over 72 billion animals are being slaughtered for food, and over 380 million pounds of plastic is being produced, polluting our seas and affecting wildlife. Now that's where C'est La Vie comes in. C'est La Vie charcuterie packs helps vegans, vegetarians, and everyone in between who wants to save time, energy, and preserve the environment by avoiding using animal products that packed in plastic and enabling them to get a well-balanced vegan snack in eco-friendly packaging. C'est La Vie is the first to enter the high in protein, savory snack pack category with 100% plant-based ingredients and compostable packaging. Currently in the US alone, there are 19.9 million vegans, which is a 500% increase compared to 2014. On top of that, 61% of US consumers rated sustainability as an important purchase criteria. More specifically, our buyer persona is Summer. She's a vegan married mom who has a successful career as a therapist. She's often too busy with her work and family and needs a quick snack to go to her busy day. Since she cannot find the time to make her own meals, she needs something that's convenient, eco-friendly, plant-based, and most importantly, healthy for her and her kids to snack on. Currently in the market, the threat of substitution is high, but there is yet to be a major competitor in the snack pack category that provides both plant-based ingredients and compostable packaging. We sell our charcuterie packs for $7 per unit with a 50% profit margin. And some of our growth opportunities include organic packs, gluten-free and nut-free packs, which will broaden the market to people who cannot consume the top 8 food allergens due to health reasons, which are 1 in 10 Americans. We plan to sell the product in our online store, local breweries, and local grocery stores, but the goal is to get the product into national grocery stores as well as into airports to ensure convenience and ease of access for the customers when they need it the most. We asked for $5,000 in order to start full production and launch our e-commerce site. And if there is only one thing I want you all to leave today with is don't take life for granted, because only together we can save the lives of billions. Thank you.
Great job. Great job, Yosef. Next up will be Miguel and Pranav with DocPal, looking to help with comprehensive medicine for patients' outcomes, better patients' outcomes. Wow, my mistake. Go for it.
Quick clarification, it's Pranav, not Pranav. But yeah, can I start? Yeah, go for it. All right, cool. Hey everyone, my name is Pranav Neyveli, and I'm a co-founder here at DocPal. Before starting DocPal, I actually started a company called PeerPal, where I was the co-founder and head of engineering. And at PeerPal, simply put, we built software for independent pre-K through 12 schools. It was a fully bootstrapped software as a service company, and we specifically worked with independent schools. And over the course of 18 months, we worked with over 250 schools internationally, and we built the team to 14 people. And last year, PE-backed Graduate acquired PeerPal. And so having successfully exited my last company, I started DocPal here with Miguel. So I'll let you go.
Hey everyone, my name is Miguel Rao, and I'm also a co-founder of DocPal. In a couple of weeks, I'll be graduating from the VCU Business School in Real Estate and Finance.
Oh, the clicker. So I want everybody here to take a second and picture this. You go to your doctor's office, right, for a regular checkup, and next thing you know, you're sitting there and the doctor's kind of blitzing you with a bunch of words that, let's be honest, we kind of follow along with, but not fully understand, and more or less just nod our head continuing on. And then you get a chance to ask the nurse perhaps some questions, right, at the end. And at the very end, you're just given a packet of discharge papers with even more complicated medical terms, and more or less you're going to follow it, right, because the doctor said so, but not really understand what to do, right? And so,
Yeah, and this is why we created DocPal. DocPal increases patient comprehension by allowing doctors to record asynchronous, personalized healthcare videos to summarize treatment plans to patients.
And so ultimately, we believe by allowing that asynchronous communication, we believe that it's going to make it easier for patients to understand, and by understanding, people are going to stick with their treatment plans and leading to better clinical outcomes.
Patient comprehension is really important. If patients don't understand their treatment plans, then they won't get the medical treatment that they deserve. Ultimately, this negatively impacts clinical outcomes.
And so what we've built here is DocPal. It's an asynchronous video tool that improves patient comprehension and clinical outcomes by allowing doctors to record a quick, maybe 2 to 5 minute video that they can communicate effectively with patients and go over whatever they need to. So let's walk everybody through what the solution is. And so we have a dashboard to start. And what it is a simple but powerful analytics platform that allows doctors and healthcare organizations to monitor patient engagement. The next thing is our asynchronous telemedicine tool. It's just a fancy way of saying our video recording software, which is a seamless and easy way for doctors to record videos, share test results, and outline treatment plans for the patients. And most importantly, lastly, we have a patient-facing site, which is easy-to-use interface that allows patients to view the video, download test results, or engage with their provider further asynchronously, whether it's like messaging or following up with an appointment. And so this all leads to the question, why are we doing this now, right? And so interestingly, during my time at PeerPal, the most impactful feature we built was called proactive outreach. And so long story short, it allowed prospective families to receive highly personalized video messages from faculty members, teachers, parents, or students, or even current ambassadors at the school, inviting prospective families to come to open houses or to enroll at the school. And so interestingly, while my work was wrapping up at PeerPal and just as Graduate bought PeerPal, we had doctors come to us and say, hey, could you build a version of this, right, for us, because it would save us time in recording videos, and like we would be able to send it out to patients. And so they were thinking of a completely different use case, right, when that happened. And so recently, Miguel and I had the chance to talk to several medical providers, and what we've realized is that there's a clear discrepancy and a disconnect, especially after that initial consult, and there's room to improve the patient-to-provider interaction. And we believe a highly personalized approach to the patient and provider engagement journey would be able to further and strengthen and improve patient comprehension, thus ultimately leading towards better clinical outcomes. And so we believe the asynchronous video method is not only authentic, but it's an efficient way for doctors to communicate with patients. And so, yeah.
Yeah. As for our short-term outlook, we aim to target concierge clinics. Concierge clinics are high-end medical clinics that patients pay a premium for. Now more than ever, patients require personalized health care. Because of this consumer trend, the concierge medicine market is expected to double in under 10 years. As for the long term, we strive to be in every health system across the country and act as a primary communication channel. As for our business model, we are a software as a service company. So that means we charge a yearly subscription. We plan to charge each provider $660 to start out with, and later on when we deal with large health systems, those will be negotiated as enterprise contracts.
So really quickly, our team, so obviously you met Miguel and I. We have Juan, who was the head of operations and a founding team member alongside me at PurePal, and he's coming in to DocPal and help us lead sales. And then we have Varun, who's also an experienced software engineer and a previous intern at PurePal. So we're taking a kind of unconventional ask here. We're really building a customer advisory panel over the next month to help us inform discovery and product decisions as we're building this. And so they're providing us a ground level view of what to do next. What we're looking for today is to build an advisory board over the next month for people with a holistic view of the healthcare landscape to help us refine our end vision and really fulfill our mission of improving patient comprehension and clinical outcomes. And so we strongly believe with the customer advisory panel in place, providing us the ground level view, and we believe having that healthcare advisory board with executives and other folks in the healthcare space, by combining both, we will be able to close our first 10 prospects in our funnel into signed contracts, getting real revenue, and launching a real business and getting product out there. Thank you so much. Happy to answer any other questions and go from there.
One more time, let's hear for all three of our students that pitched today. Let's hear for them one more time. I think it's really a gift anytime you get to hear someone's story and you get to hear their journey. And I think these experiences that we have connected to our solution, like when we hold on to that, like that is a beautiful foundation for innovation. Like we remember the experience, we remember what we felt like, and we hold on to that. And I think you heard some of that. You also heard a lot about the people around us. Like the team matters. Like you all are part of this great community, and it matters who's around you. If you are figuring out how to solve, if you're in the throes of it as an entrepreneur, the people around you are really important. And I think we could all imagine what it would be like to experience these solutions for ourselves, for the people that we love, right? How we might feel, how we might eat, how we might take care of our loved ones and their health care. So that's beautiful when you can kind of imagine and see yourself in that. So thank you all. Looking forward to hearing the next three. What we want to do, once again, thank you, Capital One, for helping make today possible. We've got a friend with us from Capital One. Amber Kearney is here. She is a product manager. She has over 8 years of experience in technology, consulting, and product management. Currently the senior project manager at Capital One, where she works in card services platform. Passions include exploring the intersection of design thinking and agile practices, user and stakeholder engagement, and discovery research methods. An advocate for women and minorities in technology, and loves exploring ways to empower, uplift, and educate the next generation of tech leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Amber Kearney.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. Wow, the demos were awesome. First of all, you guys put a lot of work into that. I understand the passion, the drive that you had, the commitment that you had to have to actually deliver those. So congratulations. Good job. I also just wanted to say thank you for having us, Garrett. We really appreciate the relationship we built over the past couple of years. To give you guys a little bit of insight into what I do at Capital One, aside from product management, I lead our product attract work stream. So essentially, I'm looking for the best and brightest product managers or up-and-coming product managers to join our team at Capital One. So I do things like this, get a chance to come to community events, get a chance to speak to all kinds of people across different industries, just seeking to build relationships and really bring on this product managers to our team. I wanted to just share a little bit about my background. So instead of going into the spiel about Capital One, which I've done a couple of years now, I kind of wanted to share a little about myself and kind of how I came to love product in this industry that I work in. I actually attended Hampton University, and I was a first-generation college student. So didn't know much about going to universities, had to do it from the ground up, do a lot of research from the ground up, and found business. So I actually found business as my trade or the thing that I wanted to study and focused in marketing and advertising. So I love the creative side of business. I love the thinking about how colors can actually influence buying behavior. And I didn't really know what that meant for what I did long term, but I kind of fell into this industry called technology. And so then at post-graduation, I kind of thought about what I wanted to do. I landed in a role called the business technology analyst. And so I thought I would be the business person. There'll be some tech folks, and I work with them. But I quickly learned that technology was taking over. So everyone had to speak the language of technology and really understand, or really the term I like to use is technology fluent, definitely being technology fluent in whatever industry you're in. So I found a role that was called back then the business experience designer. Didn't really know what that meant, but I knew that I enjoyed the intersection of how businesses, again, how they think about their customers and what their buying behavior, but as well as thinking about the technology, which I learned to love, and how we build products and digital experiences for customers that would eventually allow them to be consistent customers over the lifespan of the product. And so that role essentially is called the product manager. We eventually changed our name to product manager within my former company, and I grew up in that space. And so I've been doing product management for about 9 or 10 years, going on 10 years, it's hard to believe. But ever since then, my learning and my opportunity and really engagement for learning has never stopped. So I would just encourage all the students here, what you're learning, the pitches that you're going through, the investment that you're making in your career and your education, never let that die. Continue to grow and always seek opportunities to grow and learn. And so now I'll talk about Capital One. So I joined Capital One 3 years ago after doing product for some time and really wanting to grow my career and opportunities in product management. And I found a role within a company that was really allowing me to build and deliver digital products. So that's really a passion of mine. I enjoy delivering and releasing products that some of you might use as Capital One customers. And I moved to Richmond from the Northern Virginia area. I love the Richmond community and really appreciate the partnerships that we've had in this community. And so today I'm a product lead at Capital One. I really enjoy the space that I'm in. As I mentioned, bringing on the best and the brightest product managers to our team is really a passion of mine, as well as mentoring and leading women, minorities, just anyone who's interested in product who may not have an insight to it. So if you're interested in talking to me about product management or roles at Capital One, I would love to talk to you. And nonetheless, I would just say thank you for, on behalf of Capital One, thank you for having me, and thank you for having us as your sponsor. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Amber. The other thing you do, you keep hiring people from like demo day, right? Yeah, like Tyrone, like you keep hiring people. So if any of you are looking for a job, I mean, Capital One's here, some of you are graduating, you might want to, maybe want to be an entrepreneur and get a check from Capital One. I don't know. Just talk to Amber, she's here. All right, are you ready for some more? Can we do some more? All right. Folks online, you all doing okay? I'm just saying hello to you. Hi, everyone watching on the internet. Someone's on the chat. So if you're in the chat, say hello, say hi. It's good to see you. Thanks for hanging out with us on Zoom. I'm glad you're here. All right, Tyrone, we got 3 more, and then we're going to spend some time with each other, right? So let's hear the next 3 of our pitches.
Introducing Better Together with Briana, Hayden, and Bella. Thank you. Ooh, sorry, Bella. Better Together understands that children's health care does not end at the doctor's office, but continues afterwards.
be here. This is Hayden.
This is Bella.
And this is Brenna. She can't be here today, but she's here in spirit. And we're advertising students at VCU, and we're representing Better Together. So first and foremost, I want to take y'all back and imagine a time in which you yourself was sick. Your main priority is probably your own health. You're feeling a little bit down, so you have someone that's taking care of you, you know, getting you soup, fluffing your pillow, providing care. But now I want you to imagine that person, but it's a child. And this is a child with severe medical complexities that kind of stack on top of each other. As a parent in that situation, the only thing you want to do is provide care to your kid. But between all the specialist appointments and the doctor's notes, you're probably really drained, and your child's feeling like there's not much to their life besides their own illness.
So when we say medically complex, we're referring to uncommon medical conditions that require long-term medical support. And there is a large community of children, some of you can see here, that fit this description. And while they are receiving the medical treatment they need, the non-medical side, things like groceries, that side's not being met. And that's where Better Together comes in.
Better Together is an organization that was founded by two mothers of medically complex children. So they understand these pain points from a first-person experience. And that's kind of what makes Better Together so unique. It's not just a regular nonprofit organization. This is a model of care that's specifically made for these families. They really understand that as a parent, your first priority, first and foremost, is always going to be the wellness of your child. You can't afford to be thinking of all the little details like, I wonder what snack I'm gonna have in between this appointment, or like, did I fill my car up with gas? Like, it doesn't matter. It's just your child. So Better Together takes care of all those little details for you, so that way you can go back to focusing on your family.
And with their recent partnership with the Children's Hospital of Richmond and the Complex Care Clinic there, they've been able to implement this model of generating smiles. And they do this by combining the clinic's specialized medical care with Better Together's non-medical care. So they provide things like iPads and medical binders so that the kids and their families can get through a day at the clinic and in between appointments. And right now, Better Together is serving 27 kids and their families right here in the greater Richmond area, but hopes to become a household name all across the country.
And you can help us with this mission. As of right now, we're asking for $40,000 and your mentorship. So right now, it roughly costs around $1,500 every year to take care of a family, but that's only if they have one child with medical complexity. So $40,000 would allow Better Together to double the amount of families and patients that are served and impacted every year. As far as your mentorship goes, Better Together has a really strong and clear idea and vision, and we need your help with executing that in the most impactful way possible. So, and that's literally priceless. You can't put a number on that. So what we want you guys to really take in this moment is that this is not just an investment opportunity. This is an opportunity to go directly back into these communities and say to these people like, hey, I've heard you, and I will not let you go through this problem alone. I'm going to help you. So thank you from not only us, but from the families that we can serve together. And we hope to see you guys at Shift Retail Lab if you have any questions.
I love that passion. It was very beautiful to see. Next up is Amir from KB Health, which is seeking to provide efficiency to the supply chain for controlled substances.
Hello everyone, my name is Amir Bedani. I am a second-year pharmacy doctorate student at VCU. I'm the co-founder of KB Health Tech, and today I'm presenting our primary product, ProCDM. I want you to imagine that you are a business owner and your company owns more than 100 phones. And you probably want to keep track of these phones because they're expensive and you don't want to lose them, right? Now, you have two options. You can either just look for each phone individually, or you could use one of those apps like Find My Phone to make sure every phone is where it's supposed to be. Now, I want you to think about the same analogy in a hospital setting. In a hospital, your phone's going to be your medications. First of all, they are very expensive. Second, there are so many state and federal laws that you need to follow when it comes to them. So now you may be thinking, okay, that's easy. I'll use an app like Find My Drug to track this medication. I wish that was a thing, but it's not. It is estimated that hospitals spend more than 50 hours per month for manual tracking of medications. And if you take a closer look at hospital workflows, it kind of makes sense because there are so many different entities involved and they're all independent and they all use their own computer system. So they're not connected. And if you want to do a comprehensive monitoring, you have to do it manually. And this is when ProCDM comes into place. ProCDM is basically a proactive, comprehensive diversion monitoring system that looks at the medication from the first moment it was purchased to the last point of intervention and identifies any loophole that exists in the system and connects those independent entities together and generates automated reports. ProCDM has been implemented at a local hospital since September of 2021. And let's look at some of the stats for before and after this implementation. The validation used to be manual. Right now, it's automated. The processing time used to be more than 40 hours per month. Right now, it's only minutes per month. The accuracy used to be highly variable, but there is no or minimal variability right now. And you can also take a look at a statement from our current customer. And as this director of pharmacy mentioned, hours of work has been reduced to minutes. These are hours of work that healthcare providers can use to provide care for patients instead of wasting time on paperwork. As I mentioned, we currently have one paying client for our product, and we have already done customer discovery with the help of Da Vinci Center. We know the strengths and weaknesses of our competitors, and we are ready to expand beyond this one hospital. But in order to do that, we need to cover some cost. And so for that reason, our ask today is $50,000 to help us build the infrastructure needed for this expansion. And we are also starting an advisory board, and we are seeking $100,000 for individuals and businesses to join our advisory board and help us build this product beyond this point. Thank you all so much for your time and consideration.
Last but certainly not least is Peyton with Noodler. Much like logos that have come before, she's looking to help kids have a world of imagination.
Hello, everyone. As Tyrone stated, my name is Peyton Spangler. I'm a master's student at the VCU Brand Center, and I am the founder, owner, and inventor of Noodlers. So a little more into who I am. I'm a toy maker, but I'm also a creator, and mainly I'm just a big kid. And my mission with Noodlers is to inspire the next generation of creators by providing a product that lets them create their own life-size worlds. So, who here played in a cardboard box when you were a kid? Yeah, so the cardboard box was actually inducted into the National Toy Hall of Fame in 2005. Kids love playing in cardboard boxes because it allows for play that is spontaneous and self-directed. It is play without a prescribed method of engagement. And this was heavily influential in my deciding to invent Noodlers. Link it, bend it, twist it, branch it, build it. So what are Noodlers? Well, in short, they're pool noodle connectors. But in length, they're so much more. Noodlers is an open-ended construction toy, allowing kids to build their own worlds. So construction toys have been shown to help kids with math, engineering, and spatial relations. This world building and subsequent role-playing helps kids with linguistic and communication skills. This scale of Noodlers and the noodles allow kids to move their whole bodies and work collaboratively with others. The flexibility of the noodles and the Noodlers allow kids to think beyond just basic structures and create flexible forms that are organic and unique. Noodlers is also very hands-on and tangible. In a world where we have been trapped into screens for the past 3 years, Noodlers takes kids back into the real world and further into the world of their own imagination. Lastly, 90% of children's toys are made from plastic, which ends up in landfills. Noodlers is made out of rubber, which is a biodegradable substance that is much better for the environment. Thus, Noodlers. So there are 3 different types of Noodlers: the twist, the bundle, and the link. Every package includes 5 of each type, as well as a convenient carrying bag that doubles as the packaging. You can take this carrying bag and reuse it and bring your Noodlers with you wherever you go. So maybe you're thinking, I'm sold. How do I noodle? Well, I am seeking $10,000 in funding to prepare for IP protection and a Kickstarter campaign with the hope of eventually licensing this product. So I invite you to join me in the journey. With Noodlers, we think big, we play big, and we have big fun. So come play with us and create your own big world. I'll be in the Shift Retail Lab following this presentation with my noodles and my Noodlers, and I invite you to check them out for yourself and see how much fun they really are. Thank you.
All right, one more time. Could you show some love to all 6 pitches that we heard on the stage today? It's really great being in a room where you can hear about something that I know can help me, but also figuring out, oh, there's a way that I can help too. Like that's very beautiful. And just better ways to spend your time, right? Being more efficient, being more focused. And I'll tell you this, that imagination is really powerful. To see something beyond where you are, that is a very powerful thing, both for what we can create and do, but just how we live. And I think for all of you who are here, you know, sometimes you need an example of what's possible. So in that vein, I want to introduce Isaiah Harvin. So Isaiah's really dope because he could be your future. So not only did he graduate from Da Vinci, the MPI program, also works at HBO Max, and he's going to spend his time with us here at Da Vinci, leading our advisory board as our chair. So would you please welcome Isaiah Harvin to the stage and get a little inspiration about what your future could look like, all right? Let's hear it for Isaiah.
Thank you, Todd. Can we give it up one more time for all the pitches, all the students, all the entrepreneurs? I gotta say, it's always a treat coming back, specifically being in this space, seeing Shift, seeing all of the great work that everybody's been doing over the past couple of years. And I want to talk a little bit about what I saw. What I saw were 6 awesome pitches. What I saw was a lot of diversity of skill, of thought, of people, and great ideas that have been going from 0 to 1. And I think what's so great about it is seeing what individuals are so passionate about, coming up here, coming to share, and then seeing what's next. I'm really excited for all of you, and I'm really proud once again. I wanted to share a little bit of my journey to the Da Vinci Center and share some reflections on my experience and some advice. When I discovered the Da Vinci Center, I was an undergrad student that was trying to do a little bit of everything. I like to say I'm at this intersection of strategy, of design, and tech. But before that, I was interested in real estate. I was interested in music. I was interested in production. And I felt like there was not this, I just couldn't fit in this box. So I spent a lot of my time discovering and looking around for what can I do? What can I learn? What do I want to do? I think what's so great is a 1-credit class really changed all that for me. And starting with the Da Vinci Center's introduction to product innovation and innovation in general, it taught me that I can do whatever I want to do. And I think because of that, it really inspired me to seek out anything and everything that would just enhance skills, enhance opportunities, and build experiences. And that's exactly what I strive to do. I'd say going through the business school and going through the product innovation certificate program, I got the chance to live in this building. I got the chance to live and learn and innovate. And I think all of the benefits that come from that were really great friends, really great experiences, and learning about the advances and the understanding of innovation and entrepreneurship and all that that can do to apply to your passions and your interests. And I'd say for me, it's meant wonders. I've been extremely grateful for the opportunity and for the chance to learn and grow. I'd say that's also the reason I decided to go with the master's program in product innovation. I love that I got the chance to work with amazing friends and founders. I got the chance to learn about what it means to be entrepreneurial and take ideas and concepts and truly bring those to life. And I got to do that on a greater scale in MPI. Some notable moments for me, I got the chance to go to Portugal and for 3 weeks take an idea, build it to life. And for me, really learning about AI and accessibility and building an app for the visually impaired, those are things that sparked some interest in tech. I'd say way deeper in tech from this brand management world. And that kind of changed the entire trajectory for me. I knew that something around product management, or whatever this concept was at the time, was something that I wanted to do more of. And I tried to spend a lot of time being intentional about how do I share who I am? How do I share my story, my skills, my experiences, and what I can bring to the table? And I tried to do just that. And I'm really grateful for the Da Vinci Center and everything that they've done and everybody I've gotten to meet to help me really be at HBO Max today and building a product that people love. I'd say on top of that, just for everybody in the room, it's anything you want to do and anything you set your mind to, it'll happen. And just a couple pieces of advice. The first thing is use the power of being a student, or as Kamal said, really shoot your shot. I think there's so many benefits to being a student, to learning, to growing, to being in a space where you get the chance to fail. And fail for me, first attempt in learning, this is such a valuable experience, and it's such a valuable place to be. So take advantage, talk to people. The second thing for me is experiment. This is a part of my day-to-day job, but it's so important to test and learn and understand, not only in your experiences that you're building as students and entrepreneurs and individuals that want to get into the working world, but just also in everything that you do. How do you go ahead and test one thing? If something doesn't work, pivot to the other thing. I think that's so important, and I love that's what the VCU learning model is turning into as well. I'd say the last piece for me is embracing the journey. And this has been a really exciting piece that time moves so quickly, and we know from the last couple of years as well. Really try to embrace every experience, every opportunity possible so that you can, like I said, do whatever you set your mind to. I'm really grateful for Da Vinci. I'm grateful for everybody in the program, the faculty, the staff, the students, and I'm excited to see what everybody in this room does. And I can't wait to see what happens next. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Isaiah. Looking forward to working with you as you help lead the advisory board and pouring that into these students as well. So we're going to finish things up. To all of you watching online, everybody on Zoom, everybody turn around real quick. Just wave at the folks on Zoom. Wave to the camera. What's up, folks? Thank you so much for hanging out with us and being a part of this. Give yourselves a round of applause for being in the room. Thank you. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to be here. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for making the decision to be here and for hanging out more, because there's more to see. To talk about that, I want to bring to the stage my good friend, Guy Westlake, the Executive Director of the Da Vinci Center.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Thank you, everyone online as well. You've heard a whole lot about Da Vinci. You've heard a whole lot about partnerships. And I just want to share that this idea of prototyping the future of higher education is not possible without community. I stand here today super proud that yesterday we launched our inaugural VCU Giving Day campaign, and Da Vinci Center was able to raise $27,000 that go directly to support student founders like you saw today. You know, one of the things we do in the discovery process is ask people all the time what they would do if they had a magic wand, right? What would that customer do if they had a magic wand? What product or service would they design that would make their life easier? And what's so beautiful about coming here today is this is my magic wand reality of what education should look like. I get to sit here and watch all of these incredible presenters here today, and the ones you haven't even met yet that you're going to meet in the Shift Retail Lab, and know that behind the scenes, each one of these students, each one of these presenters is supported by an entire community. It doesn't happen by accident. Nobody waved a magic wand and allowed all of these great individuals to come up here and do what they did. Behind each and every one of them was a family member, a friend, a faculty member, a board member. All of you play this critical role in allowing this to come together. So on behalf of myself, the Da Vinci Center, all of our faculty, I just have such appreciation for the effort that goes in to producing what happened today. And I'll especially share that if you see someone wearing one of these Demo Day shirts today, please go up and thank them specifically. The Da Vinci Center team works tirelessly to create these types of opportunities for students, and I want all of you to know how much they're appreciated. So please go up to them if you see someone in this shirt and thank them following this today. Finally, I'm thrilled that we're going to do People's Choice. So we practice what we preach. We have a really high-tech process for you in the Shift Retail Lab. We have some stickers. So what you will see is a board with all of the ventures represented in the Shift Retail Lab today. We ask you to take a sticker and take that and vote for the one that you are the most inspired by today, and that will be the winner of the People's Choice, which might actually be the most important one. If you're wondering what's next, we're going to have a winner of People's Choice, but these ventures that you saw today and that are next door as well have the opportunity for additional seed grants. Pranav is one of those students that was here in 2019 and participated in this program and took his seed grant for PurePal and turned it into that company that he built with his co-founders. I am confident that we will see that same kind of success out of this cohort. So those seed funds that are able to be from that giving day yesterday, that's what produces those seed funds that go right to these students that allow them to launch their dreams or to work for Capital One, which a lot of them do as well. So thank you all so much for joining us here today. I invite you now to the Shift Retail Lab. And just before we break, a little bit about the Shift Retail Lab. We are incredibly appreciative of Mark Hurrigan and Hurrigan Construction, who are our partners in bringing this space to life. It is the first of its kind that a university has a space that allows the community and the university to come together in a public space where students get the chance to showcase their products and services directly with the community. We've also invited in members of the community, like the Jackson Ward Collective, to use this space to advance our entire Richmond ecosystem. So I hope you enjoy our reception in the Shift Retail Lab. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you everyone online as well.
When we can, we let the story begin. We're going out on our first date. You and me are thrifty, so go all you can eat. Fill up your